So today I'm going to be doing my elementary lesson, my lower elementary lesson. I have a student here. He's just going to be pretending like he's a second grader, and this lesson is designed for second grade students. So, class, we have been talking about animals and different organisms lately, and we're just going to talk about the similarities and differences that they possess. So, up here I've got 3 pictures of 3 different organisms. So can somebody raise their hand and tell me what animals we see in these pictures? Rudy.
That's a dog. That's a cat. And that's a bear.
Awesome. So what similarities and differences do these animals have? Go ahead and partner share for a minute and then we can share out. Does anybody have any ideas of what they've noticed? Some similarities and differences between the 3 different species? Rudy.
They all have fur.
They all have fur. Good. Anything else?
And big ears.
Big ears. Okay.
And big noses.
And
sort of big noses.
So do you think maybe that the bear and the dog have bigger snouts and the
Snouts, yes.
and the
snouts.
cat might not?
Cat doesn't have a snout.
Not really, right. So do you notice any differences?
The bear's way bigger.
The bear is definitely bigger. You know what else I notice? I notice that they all have 4 legs and that they all walk and move the same way. And I also notice that the dog has a long tail, but the bear doesn't. So those are just a couple observations that I've made. Now, I have 2 other pictures here that show a picture of a mom dog and a baby dog, and then another picture that shows all cat siblings. So, although their parents are the same species as them, which means the same kind of animal, they've got different characteristics. So, real quick, talk with your group members and see if you can observe any different characteristics among these 2 pictures with their mother-daughter, mother-puppy relationship, and sibling relationship.
That's the daughter-mother?
Yeah. And then these are all siblings. The cats are all siblings. So does anybody notice anything different about them?
They have different fur patterns.
The cats do?
Yes, the cats do.
Right, they do.
And the mom and daughter dog don't have the same fur.
When you say they don't have the same fur, can you expand on that? What do you mean by
Different
that?
colors.
So they have different colors. So this is just an example how siblings can be different from each other, as well as parents and offsprings. So the babies can be different from each other. So today we're going to do a little observation activity outside. So we'll have to put our coats on in a minute, but we are going to be going outside and we're going to be looking for animals of the same species. So that could be, like we did earlier, 2 dogs or 2 worms like I have up here, 2 robins. We can also compare birds in general, although that's not the same species, but they're the same animal, and that's okay too for this activity. So what we're going to do is we're going to go outside, we're going to be quiet, sit with nature, and we're going to record some similarities and differences between their physical characteristics. Does anybody remember what a physical characteristic is from last week when we were talking about this? Rudy?
Yes. It is a distinct feature of an animal.
Sure. So it's kind of like the way they look, their physical. So it's
Yes.
their outer, their exterior, the way they look.
Yes.
So it could be maybe their height or their color, or it also could be how fast they are. That's a physical characteristic.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal is for you guys to at least find 3 different species or 3 different kinds of animals to compare, and I want you to try to record at least 2 differences, 2 similarities, or 1 of each of these animals. You can do more if you see more, or if you happen to not be able to find 2, that's okay too. But I'm just going to give you guys a couple minutes to go do that. So we're going to head outside. And for this portion of the activity, we're not going to actually go outside just for time's sake and because of weather. But typically the students at this point would head outside and make these observations, record them in their notebooks, and bring them back into the classroom after 10 or 15 minutes. So, now that we've collected all of our data and made all of our observations, we're going to come back together and we're going to look at our data and explore it further. So, if everybody could share out one species or animal that they observed and list and share with me their similarities or differences.
I saw some birds, and one was an all red bird, and one was an all black bird.
Right, so they had different colors. Awesome. So some other students shared with us that they saw ladybugs, and the ladybugs had different numbers of dots on their shell. Other people saw worms that were dark and some that were light, and that varied in their length, so they weren't all the same size. We also were able to observe some squirrels that had different colors, different bushy tails, as well as birds like Rudy was able to talk to us about. And we also saw a bunch of different kind of dogs that were different sizes, different colors, had different types of tails, and different ear lengths. So
Like my dog Eloise.
Right.
She's
right.
white.
She is white, and our other dog here is black, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one dog has a short tail, but one has a long one. Awesome. So, can anybody think with their group members about what we were able to conclude based off of the data that we just collected?
Animals can be the same animal, but different physical characteristics.
Rudy, that is awesome. Great job. So we're going to move on now that we've looked at our data, and we're going to do a little exit slip. So before you guys leave, I want you to write one paragraph explaining how animals can have similar and different characteristics. And I want you guys to use evidence from our activity. And I would really like it if we could try to include 3 different physical characteristics. So it doesn't have to be all about the same animal, but at least it could be about one animal that has one similarity, one different, and then another animal that has one similarity. So take a couple minutes and write that out, and when you're done, you can hand it in to me, and if we have time, maybe somebody would like to share. Just share. Like a little, 2 sentences. So what did you learn today, Rudy?
I saw birds that were the same. I saw one bird that I think was a robin bird, and it had an orange chest and black wings, and then I saw a cardinal that had all red feathers, but they're the same animal. They're both birds. They both fly and walk on 2 legs and have a beak.
But
they have different physical characteristics.
That was great, Rudy. I'm glad you were able to observe that and learn that from our lesson today. And that is basically the wrap-up of what my lesson is on. And this is a precursor to the lesson that I taught earlier this week in the classroom. So this lesson is able to build off of differences between the same species and the same animals. And as we further the students' education, they'll be able to learn how different characteristics can be more adapted and suitable for survival, like I discussed last week. Thank you.